Most of us want to grow up and feel like. On this round table, what we normally do, we have no agenda, but we just want to learn as much as we can from you, how we can be like you, how we can be better than you, how did you position yourself? So we are going to be asking questions from all over the place. So you will forgive us, but whatever you are able to do to share with us would be privileged, because we think that you have what most people would require to make it in life. So we are going to open up this, and it's going to be, we are profiling Joan, that person. Joan, the financial literacy trainer. Joan, the coach. How does she do what she does? Is it making money, or she's just also faking it? Would she want to be someone else, or she's contented? So that it gives us a bit of insight as we pursue to be in places where you are already. We actually get definition of what it takes, or if it should take what it is required of us. So Joan, welcome. Myself and I'll just open up this conversation as I give. Maybe people don't know this, and maybe they may not know this, because as Africans we are very, very, not as Africans, some of us are very, let's not generalize, some of us are very bad with appreciation of people who actually put something on your progress. But I want to take this opportunity and just give you a little bit of. We had a conversation with Joe, and I think it was about May 2020. We used to have sessions, I think once a week. We had them for 6 weeks, and in one of the sessions, she told me, "Write your dream. Write a number of things. What do you want to do in 5 years, 10 years? Write." So I kept writing. I would write and then send an email. And one instant, it looked so childish. It had several things. It had things like, I would want to meet the president. I would want to meet the Kawaka. I would want the archbishop to come to my home. Things like that. They appeared childish. But I said, no, the coach has said, just dream. So I have a whole list of things that I said, I want to do this, 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 I want to do this. I one time went back to that list, and I had actually one of the people you would think that are huge milestones. I had actually either met or shared platforms with them, been with them, done things with them. And I looked at back and said, wow, if this lady knew. I sort of move with a bounce in my life because of certain things that have happened in this space. So Joan, I want to acknowledge you. I want to celebrate you on that you dared, you made me dare, you challenged me to dream. You asked me, can you actually dream? We went for, I think it was one of your conferences where I said dream. It was a dream and something, but you dared me to dream. And one of the persons on that list was the president, that one I met. It was the Katikiro, that one I met. It was the archbishop, that one came to me. I mean, I look at this list and I say, oh, yes. I think the one that I haven't kicked off and I don't have solid lead is the Kawaka. That one I need us to have a good conversation. But all the other persons and the ones I haven't met, it's just they are within reach. So thank you, Joan, and that's how she does her things, and she has done that for me. But for today, it's not about what she has done for me; it's what she can do for you, what you can pick from her. So I will allow you, Joan, to briefly introduce yourself. What do you do? Who are you? Why are we talking to you? Why are we talking about you? Why are we taking off time to just listen to you? Just to put it in perspective, then I will ask David to start asking those hard questions. Welcome, Joan.
Thank you, Headmaster. And what a way to have me on the round table. I'm privileged. It's an honor. Sorry if there is back end noise. I can hear some jazz around me, but I'm at a hotel. I was invited, and unfortunately, I just booked back-to-back end things. That's how I found myself here. But yeah, what a privilege. And imagine I've just been challenging people to dream. And I told them how I learned how to dream. In 2010, I read a book called The Success Principles. And in there, I learned dreaming. And I was telling people, when you're dreaming, don't begin trying to figure out how things are going to happen, because then you're not dreaming. You know you're doing your own things. You dream, let things be. But yeah, I'm here. My name is Joan Mugenzi. I am the lead coach at Imagine Me Africa. It's a space where we allow people to imagine. Actually, for us, the name speaks to what we do. The name is Imagine Me. The programs we run are programs that support people to live life by design. And you are wondering whether I am faking it or I'm enjoying it. For me, I'm living my future. That future that in 2010 I painted. When I sat down and said, this is what I'm painting. I wanted to be talking to people, encouraging them, because I'm an encourager. It's been a journey. And recently, Imagine Me Africa made 11 years. All along, I've been self-employed. Now I have switched gears to begin running a proper business. And even when I was self-employed, I had a semblance of a company, in terms of knowing that, yes, I'm self-employed, but I needed structures around me that can help. I don't engage with URA. I'm not the one that engages with NSSF. I have structures around me. So it's those structures that now I'm transitioning into saying, let's build a typical business, because I believe in what we are doing. But also, I am privy to the fact that nobody needs to tell me that age is a factor. And now that I know that age is a factor, and I have something that I believe is a beautiful thing, I don't want to see it fading away just because the founder is fading. Now, of course, part of my argument had always been that you don't learn coaching by osmosis, which is the reality. But I'm excited, and to let you know, and that is where I will end so that David can shoot his questions. The fact that now I have gone into the space of certifying coaches, and I believe that that is going to give me an army of people that I can work with and dream with, because for me, my passion now is that everyone who needs coaching should find it in the workplace. But if the managers and the leaders have no idea how this thing is, how will our people find that? So thank you so much for having me. Over to you, David.
Thank you, Joan. I believe if not all of us, the trainers, will look forward to one day being like you. And as Apple had shared earlier, we just wing it. So for now, we have a little bit of the biography on how far you have come. Maybe we could begin with what inspired you to dream and begin Imagine Me.
Hey.
And then, yes, please.
No, go ahead.
Yes. And then the challenges that you have faced and how you have been able to overcome them, and how best can you help a trainer or an upcoming coach to actually dream, imagine, and actually reflect back to this discussion, that they are able to say that, yes, I attended that trainers roundtable and it was Joan that instilled in me a seed to be able to go beyond myself, to be able to achieve the coaching level that I have been able to achieve.
Okay.
From there, we get a basis. What next?
Okay, thank you, David. It's a long story. Let me see how to cut it short. The starting point, like I've said, first of all, the core of who I am is that I'm an encourager. And I think for me, that is the starting point that has made a difference throughout my journey. I discovered that I'm an encourager when I was still in employment. And for me, it was a thing of, encourage employees, encourage the people that you're working with. And that's how life went on. Until one time when I was working with World Vision in the Africa regional level, they did mention that we are going to have a restructure. And when they mentioned that restructure, it was a restructure of splitting Africa into 3 regions. And those 3 regions were East, Southern, and West Africa. So in that moment, for me, it was excitement. Say, oh, okay, they are going to open up more opportunities. Now, as I was thinking about that, our colleagues started wailing like they had lost somebody. And for me, it was a little bit confusing. You could see everyone was standing, looking at the person and kind of looking away and not knowing how to handle the situation. But in that moment, and I don't think in that very moment, I understood that it was a turning point. That every time I look back, I realized that that was my turning point. The question that popped up in my mind was, who helps the privileged person? Because this was an international staff. She had become an international staff before I had gone into the region. By the time I joined the region as an international staff, she was already running that. And so for me, in that moment, I was thinking, okay, people actually have issues. Even the people up high in the ladder have issues, but who supports them? Who helps them? And so imagine me essentially came into the space to respond to that curiosity that I had, who is helping the privileged person. In fact, for me, when you think about Imagine Me, our mandate is to design and implement employment transition programs, processes, and tools for the corporate entities and the corporate individuals. And our vision is a world where every employee transitions or retires into a fulfilling, productive life. So that was the genesis. Now I step out. So I started that journey. And when I stepped out of employment, eventually the nudge was clear. And it started off in a conversation that I had with somebody. We sat and talked, and he put me on the spot of when are you leaving employment? And I laughed about it because at that time, by the time they were asking me that question, my contract was left with about a month. I said, well, I'm not ready, but I can sign one more contract and then I'll exit. So when I exited employment on 1st October 2016. I had started Imagine Me, officially registered it in on I had registered it April 14, thereabout. No, April I started May 14th, we registered it officially. So now I stepped out then in October 2016. When I stepped out, one of the things that I did was to look up a business course, because it occurred to me that I had never done any business, not even sold a tomato. So if I'm stepping out, I'm saying I'm going to do this personal development space, what does it mean? So when I stepped out and went into that business class, one of the things that we were taught was to navigate the environment and understand what we were stepping into. Each one of us had an assignment to go and look at your field. Mine was personal development. When I got into the personal development space, what became apparent was that in the personal development space, there are almost no standards. Anything goes. For as long as somebody is a good orator, they can call themselves a coach. For as long as somebody has some experience in something, you just step out and say, I am a coach, I'm a motivational speaker. And for me, that became dangerous because I'm thinking, I'm coming from an international space. I understand order. How is it that I'm going to work in a space that anything goes? And remember, the client that I've carved out is a sophisticated client. I'm telling you, it's a corporate individual. But even in the corporate individual, I'm looking for a semblance of my international staff who is wailing because there's a challenge that we might have a restructure. And clearly their lens, their glass is half empty. So that is how I went online and started searching for programs. Then I landed on a school for coaching. I went in, and while in that class, I learned about something called the International Coaching Federation. When I learned and understood what the International Coaching Federation does, the first thing that came to my mind was, oh, this is the barrier that I'm looking for. So now my next question was, how do we bring this barrier into Uganda? So we went in, there were a couple of us that sat around the table to start brainstorming these things. One of them is the former board chair for NSSF, Dr. Peter Kimbowa. There was Matthias Katamba, who was with the DFCU at the time. There were Josephine Mukumbia of the Agribusiness Center, and the guy of CEO Summit, Stephen Mukasa, at the time was still working with Strathmore. So we sat around a table and started having conversations. And in that moment, I even asked them, you guys, are you registered with the International Coaching Federation? None of them was. And I told them, that means we are running an illegal meeting. Can you swipe your cards, register, so that we can mean at the things that we are doing as members of ICF? So they did. And I think at the second meeting, as we were busy, the other person was Joseph Ajal. He runs Precision HR. So while we were having those conversations, they decided I sounded like I'm the one who had more information than any of them about ICF and the things related to coaching. So I was literally given the role of being the founding president. And when I became the founding president, because my burden is that we should create barriers to entry, I became very vocal about professional coaching. And in exactly 2 months, we broke a world record. They had never had a chapter formed in at such a speed. So in 2 months, we formed the chapter. I was the founding president. And now we have the third president running the chapter. So that has been the journey of that formalization. Then, of course, because I am in here, when I discovered coaching, I saw it as an opportunity. And I said, okay, this is another opportunity that will help me with my dreaming agenda of helping people to dream and visualize life. I also decided to study coaching to the highest level. So right now I'm a master certified coach. I was the first one to get that accolade in Uganda. We are now 2, but within the East and Central Africa region, there are only 4 of us. And globally, we are 5%. So that has been the journey. When I think about the challenges, part of my challenges were the naivety when I was getting into the space. And I came from an NGO background where collaboration is the order of the day, that you talk to people and, you know, they are kind of genuine in terms of what they are telling you. So when I came out into the business world, I discovered that it was an interesting mix. There are people who would eagerly be ready to listen to you. And the moment they understand your dreams, it became an arm's length. So I realized things were going to be a little bit tighter. So what did I do? One of the things I did in order to navigate the environment, I chose to pay for anything that looked like a semblance of competition. I said, I'm going to pay for what they are offering so that I go in and understand their business better, because just talking to people is not going to help me. So during that time, I paid for things, and immediately there are those that I knew, okay, if I'm talking about competition, these are not part of it. Eventually, I realized that the entities that I admired had been around for really a long time. They are solid. They have created entry points in every organization that you can think about. So then the question was, how do I get into that space? Networking has been very, very crucial, because I remember it is through networking that I was introduced to Strathmore University Business School. I became faculty there. I've been faculty there since 2019, but I learned how people do things in that space. Some of the prominent consultancy firms started inviting me to go and talk about coaching, because now I had established something that was unique to me. I went in, did that. Then how do I get into the financial literacy space? We were talking a lot of those things and we were already getting results. But then I thought this certification might be important. And so once I saw that there was an opportunity, I went in and I said, let me get this Bank of Uganda certification. I got it, and then I said, I'm going to weave it into the profile. Our methodology is totally different from the slides they give us at the Financial Literacy Association. I understood the key messages, and I decided I know what the agenda for the nation is. I'm going to weave those into our coaching processes. And I think that has been the journey. The other thing that I did was when Imagine Me Africa made 5 years, I discovered a place called the Business Network International. I joined that space. I think that is one of the spaces that have really challenged me in a very good way, because in that space, we just challenge each other to get to the next level. In fact, for them, every time they would be there drumming it in my head, work on your business, not in your business. Work on your business, not in your business. So right now I celebrate them that I have embarked on that journey, and it is very exciting. So that's the long story, David.
Thank you, John. David, maybe if I could come in,
Yes.
a quick one on for Joan, and this is a question that what really inspired this round table, because we are in this field of sharing knowledge, in this field of impacting masses. But the question that keeps that keeps being thrown around is it making sense for you? Is it making a living? It may be making an impact, emotional satisfaction, but is it bringing something into the pocket? I just I don't know. In your words, put something around it.
Thank you, Apollo. Yes, definitely it is. It is putting money in my pocket. When I left employment, I gave myself 2 years. I told myself, let me go out there. If things don't work out, I'll go back to employment. So for me, it was never a door that I had closed. Now, from those 2 years, it is 8 years. The thing that I've challenged myself as a business person, I tell myself every time I meet my clients, they should not find the same Joan of last year. I should be able to show up and they see that there's something new, especially for those of us who trade in services where we want people to pay for our services. Can you also prove that you're investing in yourself, or do you think other people should just invest in your programs and you're not investing in yourself? I think I found that very interesting, because I learn a lot, and every time I learn, I'm in people's faces to tell them about the things that I have learned. So it's making money. But I think usually what brings the frustration to many business people, if your business model is not clear, then that will be it. I'll tell you that I'm very clear in terms of who my target audience is. I know that my target audience can afford to pay. And so my question then becomes, have I tailored programs that are meaningful to them? Can they listen to me and feel like there's something? Actually, I will tell you something interesting. For me, once I realized the big guys in the market, I told myself, I'm going to position Imagine Me to take the breadcrumbs, because I might not be able to dislodge them, but what is it that I can offer so that as they sit there, they will say, okay, entity A, entity B are giving us this. Can we try out Imagine Me on C? So I didn't go out to say I'm going to dislodge. You don't just dislodge entities that have a name in the market, in the region. It's not about dislodging. It is, what is it that can enhance the value that they're already giving? And I think for me, that became the essence, and that value that we add, because it is unique, people are willing to pay. They are willing to pay. And there are certain services that we have positioned in such a way that, yes, when we give you the price tag, and then you go and you're looking for like organizations, they are likely to quote way above what we have. So I think for me, it was just finding that balance that is profitable for us, but also knowing that we might not be the top of mind. So if we are not the top of mind, how can we be the next alternative? Yeah.
Thank you. I think that has been handled clearly. Maybe just a little bit on a little bit clarity on positioning yourself, and also there is something that the chairman keeps hinting on, of most financially trusted trainers being broke. So my question would be, how best would you share something for the financially trusted trainers that are just starting out and and have this feeling of, I don't have the money yet, but this is where I'm going, but I find it difficult to talk about money when I don't have the money, because that seems to be the prevailing characteristics of most of the financially trusted trainers that we have.
Okay, thank you for that question. And it's a very important question because we are handling a very sensitive subject. And just to take you back, when I said that I stepped out and I said I wanted to talk to the corporate people, I knew that I understand their language. I knew that I could relate to their experiences. I knew that if I'm going to talk to a director who is always on the plane, I've lived that life. So I can draw parallels based on real life experiences. Now, I have also experienced people with book knowledge, and there is nothing as frustrating as listening to somebody and you realize what they are giving you is book knowledge, because people want reality in terms of what is happening. So for me, when I'm thinking about a typical financial literacy trainer, ask yourself, who is it that I can best appeal to? Because there is always the message and the messenger. Unfortunately, it is what it is. There will be the message and the messenger. The question is, how do you position yourself? Maybe the starting point might not even be you sticking out your head as a loner. Okay, that's why I like the idea of the association, because maybe it would be a thing of, can we assemble teams where you have people? Yeah, when you have a bit of money in the bank, there are certain things that you can talk about. You're not going to be shocked when somebody is telling you monies that they have lost and they are picking up themselves very fast, and you're looking and you're thinking you cannot even pronounce the figures. So for me, it is just understanding which is the audience that you can best relate to. Because, yeah, I mean, I meet people and I ask them, so what makes you think that you're the best position to serve that audience? There are audiences that I don't have a problem serving, but I tell myself, I'll be spreading myself so thin. So I decided I know who I'm serving. Many times in the association, in these different financial literacy spaces, they would say, but we want to spread the word across. And I say, yeah, everybody has a burden. My burden is for the corporate person. Because if Headmaster has been managing platforms, he has been having the mic that the NSSF has given him, I wouldn't want to find him grassing in some funny corner just because he doesn't know how to pick up his life. I can guide him from that essence. Maybe your role as a financial literacy trainer, you might find that your starting point would be students who are leaving school. And then you're going to begin designing a program and ask yourself, when I'm designing this program, who is meant to pay? Because you see, when you're designing and that's why I say that everything eventually falls back to our business models. When you're designing your business model, who is it for? Who are you targeting? And who is the actual person that is meant to pay the bill? The person who is meant to pay the bill, you have to have different strategies of getting them so that they pay for the bill. Meanwhile, you must design a responsive program to the individual. But also, the other thing that you can comfortably do is to say, as you teach and you train, can you implement the very things you're asking people? Because then you can come in and say, hey guys, last year when we put up this challenge, which are the common challenges, or save 1,000 shillings per day, that last year when we started this challenge, I actually didn't realize this is what was going to happen. It became fascinating. And when I broke my box at the end of the year, this is what I found. Then you have an appealing story. But if all the stories you're going to tell are in books, I can read the books. So why don't you just give me the list and I go and I read them? So begin living that life. Try out your own things. I will tell you that there are instruments I started taking up because I realized there were common conversations in the training rooms. but I hadn't tested them out. Now that I have those instruments, when I talk, I speak from a position of confidence because I can relate, I can challenge, knowing what exactly is happening in there. I hope that helps, David.
Yes, I think that helps. And I think there is some there's I don't know how to exactly call it. It has been the thing that I've been pondering about succession. How does a financial literacy trainer say they've started their coaching business? How do they, from your perspective, how do they prepare themselves for an exit? Because my thinking is you are the one that does the actual training. You might be having stuff that help you maybe in arranging the slides, maybe following up on leads, generally that stuff. But when it comes to the actual training, it is you, the trainer, that does the training. So my question is, how do you prepare yourself for, and what is the exit strategy for a financial literacy trainer when it comes to that time when they have to pull out and then usher in another trainer? How do you prepare somebody to be accepted in the spaces in which you have been in to continue your legacy?
Okay, I think the question then, David, becomes, are you building a business? Are you building a personal brand? Because you see, if you're building a business from the onset, from the outset, you must be having a system where you know, this is how I show up, and these are the people that I'm going to show up with. And sometimes I say, not everybody is going to have a successful business. Let's first put certain things on the table and know that not everybody is going to have a successful business. So you need to get to a point of asking yourself, do I want to go this road alone? Can we get into some form of partnership and start and register a business as partners? Because you just assume, I don't know, what is our number now of financial literacy trainers? If for just throwing out a figure, if we are 1,000, for example, do you want to tell me that we want to have 1,000 businesses? If we are going to have 1,000 businesses and we use the Pareto principle of the 80-20 rule, then we know that 8,000 of those businesses are not thriving, and they won't. Because there are so many complexities that come with building a business, and staying power is one of them. And I know, for example, that I have a background in media, but I avoided the media until I was very stable. I told myself I will not do interviews because the media can really put you up there, and it's the one that will pull you down very fast. So there are things that I wanted to be very sure about before I go making noise in the public to say this is what is happening. Because the media can sit back and analyze you in a very interesting ways. And if in doubt, go and read the CEO East Africa magazine. I won't mention names, but go in there and see. Sometimes one time they bring an individual and they are really praising them. They're all praises for that person and all. The next time you see a write-up about that person and you're thinking, oh my goodness, what is this? So did they see? So I think for me, from the outset, if you're choosing to build a business, then you know that a business cannot rely on you as an individual. It will need many other people on board. Then you start off with a strategy of saying, this is the direction that we are going to take and work around it. Because, yeah, and for me, I have been in that space as a coach. First of all, coaching is not cheap, even in terms of training. So whereas it has been a burden, I would ask myself, but how do are you not going to learn coaching by osmosis? Just because you've seen me coach doesn't mean you're going to learn how to coach. At least what I'm happy about now, my core team is all now trained as coaches. So even when they're in the field and they're asking them coaching questions, they no longer need me to respond to certain questions. Sorry, that I hope I don't know, I think the music is too loud for you as well, because it's too loud where I am, but I have no option. Over.
Thank you. Here we are getting you clearly. Mr. Apollo, do you have anything before we can open up for questions?
Okay, sorry, I was looking for the technology. Thank you. Thank you, Joan. Thank you. I like how you've defined the business and about a little bit about the collaboration, but oh, not but, and I would want you to stress something about collaborations, because one of the things that I have found in this space that we are building for financial literacy is that find your space, keep it to yourself, keep quiet. Number two, we have. I just want you to add your voice to the bit of skilling. Now, as the Bank of Uganda certification is actually a basic, but all of a sudden when someone receives it, they feel like they are pros in financial literacy. I always keep telling people that in this financial, for me as a person, now this is me as Mboa, every time I go for a training, I make sure I learn from that training, even if I'm the one delivering it. There is something I need to learn because I feel like I am not yet there. As one, as a dispense of this information, but two, as even my own personal affairs. So I want you to add your voice, the bit about skilling, about sharpening yourselves, and maybe I'm saying this to validate why we are having these spaces. And then the bit of collaboration. Just I need to push that pin a little bit further.
Thank you, Headmaster. And very true. How do you become an expert after 5 days? And a manual that is sent to you and I think for me, at Imagine Me, we have decided we know the caliber of facilitators that we need. And so there are certain standards that we have defined internally that I don't care even if you came and told me you're the master trainer within UFLA. If you don't meet certain criteria that we have spelled out, I will say thank you for being a master trainer, but no thank you. I can't have a conversation with you, because you can't go out. And I think for me, actually, the way we position the information that we get from that 5-day training of BOU, we use it to say, look, this is the national agenda, okay? And because, like I've told you, I'm dealing with a sophisticated client here who will know about the national development plan, who will talk about their own strategy. And therefore, I have to bring in Bank of Uganda from a strategic direction, not because I am a trainer. That doesn't mean that I will not highlight the fact that I'm a financial literacy trainer trained by Bank of Uganda, okay? But if, for example, I'm bringing in somebody to come and speak about retirement, you must have a semblance of retirement. Why should I bring a 25-year-old to come and tell my audience of 50 plus on how to retire? There's a disconnect. It doesn't matter how many books you have read. There will be a disconnect. So I think one of the things you need to learn is that the message and the messenger are always one, and we need to learn how to be humble. I was fortunate enough to work closely with the late Uncle George Nyeko. He used to be the secretary of Bank of Uganda, and then he allowed to be in the Imagine Me space. I really learned a lot from him. For me, some of the experienced people that we use at Imagine Me Africa to work to, that we have on faculty, we have them there on purpose. We are learning from them, but we sit back and you constitute a team, and the team that you've constituted, you go in and probably your own, the way you have constituted the team alone puts people off. So we need to take care of the parameters. Have you understood the assignment? Have you understood who is the best face to face scenarios? Now, for example, David was asking about how do you prepare people? There are audiences I go to, and I know I don't need to prove anything. My team can take lead. They will set up the stage, they will do all the different things, and I'll only come in at a later stage to say something. But sometimes you look at a program, Mboa introduces it, Mboa does the training, Mboa does every facilitation, does all the icebreakers, Mboa does the evaluation. So where is Mboa's team? You know, I'm just using that as an illustration. So we need to think about the skilling. We must continue growing. I tell people there is no substitute for skilling. The BOU is giving you an audience. But like I've said, if we are 1,000, NSSF will not take all of us the 1,000. So what will make your profile stand out of the 1,000 so that they will give you a job? What will make you stand out over, okay, now we have district associations. If we are 20 in a district chapter and say Save the Children wants to work with 3, what makes you be one of the 3? I think for me, if you can challenge yourself as a financial literacy trainer to ask yourself, can I be one of the top 3? Can I be one of the top 5? Like I told you, I went into the space and I told myself, I know there are players in this market. My question was, can I be the next alternative? Same thing as even when we are positioning ourselves, one of the things we have decided, we just position ourselves from the element of what we see as our strength. That's what we position, because there are many things that we might not be able to deliver on. So we put our best foot forward. That's what we talk about. Collaboration then becomes key. And I think for me, there is no space that has taught me collaboration like BNI. And also, many times when you're going in for a collaborative agenda, ask yourself, what is the reason I'm in this space? I have people that I'm mentoring, that I mentor in that space, and I put them on my teams, very well knowing that I'm mentoring them, I'm opening the space for them in the corporate world, because you need an address. You need somebody to know you, to say, yes, this is what I've done. And sometimes they ask me, what do we do? Then I just say, no, you just on your CV, on your packaging, just indicate that you have been working with Imagine Me Africa and you've worked on assignments XYZ. That is how I hold people's hands, because I keep on saying, even in my coaching space, if every organization that has budgets woke up tomorrow and said, we have the budgets, come and coach, we don't even have enough coaches on the market, let alone saying that, we all want to be in spaces. You can only do so much. Now, when you're an individual, it's even worse. That's why you need to build a team so that you can get to a point where, you can do multiple assignments. At least for me, some of the businesses that I look up to, I can see that at some point they're running 4, 5 activities within the same week. And I'm thinking, wow, I want to grow and get to that level where I can run multiple programs and everyone is getting the same experience. Over.
Thank you, Joan. I hope Headmaster has been answered properly. We have, there is a question in the chat, and it begins by saying, young people face challenges in accessing opportunities in financial literacy, particularly in terms of being underestimated or having their capabilities doubted. I think that has been answered. The message and the messenger being packaged as one. So there wouldn't be any point of a 25-year-old sharing with people going for retirement. What guidance would you offer to aspiring young professionals seeking to excel in coaching and financial education? Then, have you had an experience mentoring young people? I think that has been touched. Maybe the question now comes in as, what approaches have been effective? And how can UFLA ensure they empower and support young people in this field?
David, I need to put a disclaimer around because I said that a 25-year-old going to speak about retirement to a 50-year-old. But a 25-year-old can go and speak to my 50-year-olds on digital, on positioning themselves digitally, because they understand the digital world more than the 50-year-old. What I'm trying to drive at is give people the right assignments that have a semblance of the assignments that you're giving them. It's the same thing as somebody who is enjoying their 8 to 5 job. and they're the ones telling you get out to do self-employment. How believable is that message? But for me, part of the platforms that I've got them just because people say, no. There is hope when you step out. So they invite me to talk about that because they have seen me live that life for the last 8 years, and I'm not about to go back into employment. So they want to understand, what is it? How are you navigating? Because sometimes even you, the information that you're giving might not be believing in it because you're also stuck in something. So that becomes key. In terms of what approaches have been effective, for me, again, when it comes to mentorship, first of all, like I have said, young people is not my primary audience. So I have a network of people that every time young people come to me, I pass them on to my coaches who I know are into young people. But here is another thing. For people who are when we have those chapters, you can decide to write grants and raise money from some of these bilateral agencies and go offer the trainings in those spaces. Because in that moment, somebody is paying the bill for you to go and experiment your capabilities. I think that's why I keep on saying we need to figure out how do we want to position, how do we want to be known, how do we want to show up. But the other one that I'm going to trade on, and I trade on it very, very carefully, you might still want to invest in yourself to figure out how to package your own information. Recently, I have an interesting scenario of somebody in governance that I coached. I put out a class, and that class was at $885, I think. That is what the class was, and it was something for 3 months. And in exactly 2 months, this person put out a program, and they were in a space and said, I can't believe it. I have, you know how you have been struggling with your thing like for 5 years? You go into this coaching space, a light bulb pops up, and then all of a sudden now, they run classes that are full and what? Because they have clarified their message. So this niching thing works. We come here, we talk a few minutes, yes, we leave. But the thing is, if you're overholding onto your money and you think you're going to have the breakthroughs, you will wait until you put in the 10,000 hours. Sometimes you need to pay the person who has put in the 10,000 hours to help you position well. I will tell you something, and I will not be shy about it. I have told financial literacy trainers many times, the things you're telling people, when we say, okay, go and save, you have to invest, you have to budget, are we sure they don't know that information? You're going to require a different set of skills to enable them overcome that process. Unless you're speaking to young people who are just leaving university, and therefore you're guiding them in terms of how to use your money, to use their money. But if I'm going to talk to a mother, a father, 35, 38, 40, they have real issues. They are paying school fees. They have the black tax. We need to have a proper conversation that enables them to analyze their situation. And so it means that you're going to require a different skill set, okay? I have been recently, when we started our first cohort of coaching, people came in and said, my goodness, I didn't even realize that this is what it means to be a coach. So all along, I'm thinking I'm coaching, I'm doing my own things. And they're already excited, they're already driving initiatives. And I mean, this year, for example, it's a year where we are using market entry rates. Next year, we shall go and have our open market rates. And we run, because at that time, we will have an army of coaches. And then we are busy now. We will be moving on to the next level where we are saying, let's mentor, because we know how long it takes for somebody to be a fully fledged coach. And so I think let's not take shortcuts. And when I'm saying let's not take shortcuts, I'm talking to those who want to be in the 1, 2, 3, 5% of people who are known to give value. If you want to be among the masses, continue with your way of doing things. It's Marshall Goldsmith, who says that what brought you here won't take you there. So if you're not happy with how your business is doing, maybe it is time to look for a different intervention that will help you take it to another level. Thank you.
Thank you, Joan. I think we can have 3 more questions.
David,
Yes,
are
please.
there any persons with questions in the chat, or because we always engage our coach, our persons for an hour. We don't want the next hour she charges us.
I'm checking the
Any
Q&A.
question?
I'm not seeing any
Okay.
further question.
Okay. Maybe as we conclude this, I would love Joan to just share a few insights and a few nuggets that she would require of persons. What these we who are financial literacy trainers, who are in the financial literacy practice, what is it that you would require? Now you are speaking like a client. What would you require to see? How do you want us to scale? What are the beginning points you could recommend? And just so that we start forming ourselves into that particular person that is worthy of working with Joan.
Interesting. One, the key thing that I want to look out for is your credibility. And you know how we look for credibility. I will look at who are some of the clients you have served. And I would also want to see how much you believe in your work. So I will look out for your visibility, because these days we no longer have top secret service secrets. If you're doing something, you should be proud about it, and we should be able to find it either on YouTube, on Instagram, on TikTok, on LinkedIn. You should be findable. I shouldn't be there struggling to say this is what is happening. I would, part of the credibility would be to ask you for testimonials. So please don't do assignments and not ask for testimonials from your clients, especially the satisfied clients, because that becomes key. But also, I would be keen when I'm reviewing your CV to see if you're growing. You cannot teach from an empty source. You can only teach based on how much you're learning. So if the only thing you're floating around is your Bank of Uganda training, and you did it when, I don't remember when did I do mine? Was it 2017, 2018? And that is what I'm screaming about. I would say you're too many years behind. Because even when we are reading research, we normally say, if somebody is quoting research, can we have some research that has happened in the last 5 years? Because if you're telling me things of 50 years ago, we were not in the information age. Probably you're still behind several years back. I want to have a peer conversation where our minds meet. Because I have found that some of the spaces that have opened, they've opened because I've had an intellectual conversation with somebody and they feel like they need a follow-up conversation. What else would I look for? I would look for who else you're collaborating with. So I want to see, to have a sense of what is happening. And I will tell you that some of the assignments that that we've done, there are times when we've had faculty that we've paid more than what we ourselves internally are getting. So sometimes you need profiles to upgrade you. And that would mean they will come at a price. So don't be there looking and you're saying, but I charged 2 million. Now that I charged 2 million, how do I give? Let me use Coach Majo, since Coach Majo is one of our favorite people in the financial space. I don't know if she's on the call. So I get an assignment maybe for 2 million. And maybe Coach Majo is going to say that her fee is 1.5. I might swallow my pride and say, okay, I charged 2 million, but let Coach Majo come and be part of my team so that she enhances what we have and I take the 500 home. So some of those are things that you people don't understand. You want to get money and take it. For me, if I think about the formative years, we were simply breaking even. We were not thinking about profits. Now, some of the people who used to be in those spaces are the ones that have opened up doors where they are now. Yeah, so I think for me, I will see the credibility is what I start off with. And of course, the credibility will speak into how visible is your credibility, who can speak for it, who else are you working with, who are the clients you have served, and then we pick it up from there.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you,
Yes, I
Joan.
think we have.
Yes, go on, David.
Now, I was saying we have no further questions. I think the attendees are satisfied with what has been shared.
Okay, thank you so much, Joan. We definitely record this and we keep this, we archive this for people to understand where this journey falls. For me, I am privileged, and I keep telling people this is a privilege I have, and I will keep using to be in spaces where I can keep learning from people like this, and to add on, so that they don't sometimes for free, because as it is say, it is expensive, but you also need to be able to invest in yourself, invest in that time. Sometimes you can't invest the money, but you also don't want to invest the time. But thank you so much, Joan. For me, it's always refreshing to listen from you, to sit down. Joan is one of those very few persons in this industry. When you sit in her class, she will actually treat you like a student. She will actually give you the chance to learn. And in this industry, you go and sit in the place, and then people are referring to you, and it's even when you have gone to learn, you don't feel it's not it's a good thing to be in. So thank you so much, but also thank you for the humility. Thank you for sparing time. It's been a busy day. It's been a really long day for you, but thank you. And for the UFLA members, all of you, we started that day at 7 at Africana. It's now past 7, still doing UFLA. That shows that I know David was even doing things even before 7 for UFLA. I hope that never goes unnoticed. So thank you so much, everyone. I would like to invite Joan to say her parting shots, and then David will again pray for us, and we go.
Okay, my parting shots are simple. The fact that you're on this call, the messages were meant for you. Just pick out that one thing that speaks to you. There is hope. The market is still virgin. The thing is, don't play where everyone is playing. Begin asking yourself, what is the thing that I'm trying to focus on, and how can I be the best at it? And people will spot you at a distance. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Joan. David, let's pray. David.
Let somebody say for a word of prayer. Father, Lord, we want to thank you for the messages that have been shared. And I pray that all of us in attendance, we might pick that one thing that is going to change the way we see things. And we pray that when we step into those spaces, may you